Boxing Truth here. I know I'm late, but I might as well just bang out this video. Give my take on the Ward Kovalev's 2 fight. Give my honest assessment of the fight. A lot of different opinions. People are satisfied with the result. Some people are satisfied with that result of the rematch despite the controversy. Some people are outraged. Other people felt, the result would have been the same. But that's all speculation. The fact of the matter is, it was a bullshit stoppage, and the fight shouldn't have been stopped at that point blank period. But I watched the fight a few times, and I wanted to give my honest take on the fight. It's a fight that you should watch more than once, because if you only watch it just one time, you're gonna give an uneducated opinion, because you're gonna miss some things. This was a pretty good fight, all things considered. There was a lot of good competitive rounds. Ward did fight better. He fought better defensively. His movement was better. Offensively, he didn't really improve in that area, except he was taking more risks. He took a lot more risks in this fight. He didn't take any risk at all. He was trying to land the right hand more. He was trying to put more mustard behind it. But despite Ward coming in with more confidence, which I thought he would, despite Ward doing better, and despite him performing better in this fight, it had to be surprising to him that he was still losing the early rounds of the fight. He was still losing the early part of the fight. The adjustment he made was that he was using that step back technique that he does. He bases opponents, and then he makes his opponent attack him, then he steps back a little bit, and it capitalizes on his opponent's mistakes. So he was using that to neutralize Kovalev's right hand, which it was working. I mean, Kovalev, he fought better in this fight too. That's something he's not getting credit for. He landed more punches in this fight. He was more aggressive. And even though he fought a better version of Ward in the second time around, he was still winning the rounds. He was still having his moments. He was still getting the better of Ward. The reality is, Ward lost the first 3 rounds of that fight. Even though he performed better, even though he took more risks, he still couldn't deal with the range and jab of Kovalev. That was the difference in the first 3 rounds of that fight. You don't believe me? Just look at the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges gave Kovalev the first 2 rounds. Weisfeld gave Kovalev the first 3 rounds, because that's the reality. He won the first 3 rounds. It wasn't until the 4th round where finally Ward had some momentum in his favor. He raised his hand in the 4th round because he knew he won that round. That was the first round he won in the fight. But it was still a good, close, competitive round. Kovalev had his moments. And then Kovalev had a big 5th round. All 3 judges gave him that round. So, even though Ward was performing better, was frustrating Kovalev with his defensive maneuvers, making him miss with the right hand, he was still behind in the fight. He was still losing. Even though he was able to avoid getting rocked. He was able to avoid getting knocked down in this fight, which made some people believe that he was dominating the fight, but no, he wasn't. He was still getting outboxed. He was still getting outpointed. He still was getting outlanded. But the rounds were harder for Kovalev to win because of the adjustments Ward made. But Kovalev also made some adjustments, which he didn't get credit for. He was going to the body more. He was fighting in the clinches more. He would give Ward different looks. He would go southpaw. He would shoot from different angles. But unfortunately, we couldn't get the conclusion that we wanted. We wanted a definitive outcome in this fight, and all this rematch did was create more controversy. Ward failed to prove that there was no doubt of what happened in the first fight. And the fight got very controversial in the 7th round. Ward already hit Kovalev low early in the fight. He hit him as early as the 2nd round, below the belt. Then he does it again in the 7th round, and Weeks, either it was just a bad night or he was on the payroll, on the Rock Nation payroll, and I tend to believe the latter because Weeks he failed, man. Kovalev deserved better. Weeks wouldn't penalize Ward, wouldn't even warn Ward every time. Only the first time he warned him in the 2nd round, and then when he got hit in the 7th, you can clearly see Kovalev gets hit low, and Weeks doesn't do shit. Doesn't call time, doesn't make Kovalev recover. He should get a chance to recover after getting fouled. And then the 8th round starts, and Kovalev is still in the fight, even though he's getting hit in the balls. He's still winning the fight. He's still having good moments, and he had good moments early in the 8th round. But then Ward strategically hits him in the nuts again. Very low below the belt. You can see it. It's below the belt. And Kovalev's hurt from the low blow, and Weeks doesn't do shit yet again. And then Ward hits him again low. And you see Kovalev pointing to Weeks that, yo, he's hitting me low. But Weeks just doesn't do shit. And Kovalev is reeling from the low blows. He took 2 low blows in the 8th round, plus a low blow in the 7th, and a low blow in the 2nd. So you get hit in the nuts that many fucking times, it's going to take something out of you. I don't care how powerful and dangerous you are like Kovalev. It's going to take the starch out of you. So Kovalev's reeling from the low blows. He's depleted from it because he didn't get any chance to recover. And so his energy and his strength is zapped because of the low blows. He didn't get a chance to recover, and then Ward was able to land the right hand. That big right hand that he landed. And when you look at it, that right hand didn't hurt Kovalev. It buckled him, but it didn't hurt him because Kovalev was still weak from the low blows that he endured, 2 of them in the 8th round prior to that right hand. And Kovalev was still trying to recover from it. But Ward was able to land the right hand. He felt he hurt Kovalev. Kovalev was still feeling the effects from the low blows. The right hand added to the bad luck he was receiving that night. And Ward got a spurt of energy. He jumped on him, and then he landed a combination to the balls. All 3 of them. All 3 of the last shots. He threw 3 left hooks, all landed below the belt. And Weeks fucking stops the fight. And the Ward fanboys are actually celebrating that win. That is one of the most fakest wins in boxing that I've ever seen. It left a bad taste in a lot of boxing fans' mouths. It was a bullshit conclusion. It felt like Ward was targeting Kovalev's balls because he wasn't getting warned. He was getting away with it. And they weren't borderline, man. They were all below the belt. And Kovalev is the first fighter I ever saw in my time watching boxing getting stopped by a combination to the balls. And, Ward fought better, made it harder for Kovalev to win the rounds. But at the end of the day, he was still up on my card 5 rounds to 2. Deserved better, deserved a chance to an opportunity to continue fighting. It doesn't matter if you thought Ward was going to win the fight or not. It doesn't fucking matter. The fight shouldn't have been stopped, point blank, period. And now Ward is going to be a punchline. Instead of getting respect, he's going to just get a bunch of jokes being thrown at him. He's going to be known as the ball crusher. He's going to be known as Son of Galata. He failed, man. He failed to prove that there was no doubt. He failed to prove that he's better than Sergey Kovalev. Andre Ward is just going to be a guy. His legacy is going to be a guy that couldn't decisively beat Kovalev in 2 fights, and a guy that was actually given 2 wins over Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev beat you the first time, bro, and he was beating you the second time. And I felt you strategically hit Kovalev low to take the strength out of him and use that to your advantage, and you actually just stole another victory this past Saturday night with the help of Tony Weeks. Tony Weeks was your boy that night. Let you get away with a lot of shit, including about 7 low blows without being penalized. The rematch, all it did was provide more controversy. We won't know. I mean, I know who's better between the two. They spent 19 rounds with each other, and Kovalev won 13 of them, in my opinion. So he was a superior fighter, and it's too bad that Kovalev won't get the recognition he deserves. The recognition of beating Ward the first time, remaining champion, and becoming the best fighter in the world. Kovalev, just like Manny Pacquiao, is an uncrowned king. But as eye crusher, I know what happened. I'm still a Kovalev fan, will remain a Kovalev fan. Gonna cop a Crusher hat later this week. Kovalev was robbed once again, man. He just never had a chance. Too many politics. He was up against it, and he was fighting 2 people in that ring on Saturday night. Bullshit conclusion to the series between Ward and Kovalev. Ward will get the recognition, but he's not going to get the respect, man. I can't respect what Ward did this past Saturday night. He was losing the fight. He was performing better, was still losing. And he's considered the best in the world, and he has to cheat to win. Needs a combination to the balls to beat Sergey Kovalev. What a fucking joke. Andre Ward is just another manufactured, protected Amaro bomb. Yeah, I'm going to use precise presenter's word. And Kovalev is another uncrowned king. But just like Manny Pacquiao, Kovalev will rise again. He will be back. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.